What is up, everybody? Doug here, and we have a solo episode, and it's actually, it's been a while since we have a since we've had a solo episode, just because I've been busy with all kinds of different shows. Uh, I've been trying to get, basically been trying to fit in the Resident Evil in review into the schedule. Uh, Also playing some of these review games that we're going to talk about today, and it's just been a hectic affair. So it's been a while, and I am very well aware that we still have to finish the handheld gaming interview series that is coming soon. But for today, this is just going to be a gaggle of reviews. I wish I would have kept track of this. I could probably, if I took the time, I'm sure that I could go back and I could find how many gaggle of review episodes that we've had. But you know what? That would be a problem for later, Doug. And that's just not what we're doing today. So the first game that I want to talk about is a game called, you know what? I've actually, I can't believe I'm doing this again. So I tried to record this episode before, but technically, you know what? All right, everybody, what's up? This is Doug here, and this is going to be the this is going to be a solo episode, and it's kind of going to be one to kind of clean house on some of the reviews that we've kind of gotten backlogged on. Um, Basically, if you haven't listened to any of the other episodes, we've also been trying to get the Resident Evil in review series going, and there's just been a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I've been taking on a much bigger load in the music side, just taking on a bunch of different shows. And this is going to be an episode where I just go through and I talk about some reviews that we've had, kind of piling up on us. Um, so yeah, and also, this is a thought that occurred to me just before I started recording. I am very well aware that we still haven't put out the final episode of the handheld gaming interview series. Um, Part five is coming, I promise, and that part is going to be talking about the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, all the handheld gaming PCs out on the market, stuff like that. Um, but to start off, there's a game called Hidden in My Paradise, and I cannot tell you how many times I've talked about this game where I've said the wrong name because like I've wanted to say like Hidden Through Paradise or like Hidden in Plain Sight's come out, but it's Hidden in My Paradise. Um, this is a game that we got a review code for, and it is a kind of like the best way I can describe it is if you'll remember back to the days when at least when I was a kid, you had those I Spy books, and this is just a video game version of that. You get into these levels, and they're very beautifully designed. Great artwork on display here. The music is very relaxing, and you basically have three different things that you're trying to solve for. Well, three different categories of things that you're trying to do. So the first one, excuse me, is you have to go through these levels, and there's a list of things that they want you to look for. You just find the item, you click it, boom, easy peasy lemon squeezy. The second category is there are these little fairies or pixies, whatever you want to call them, and you can see them by kind of like looking through the levels and seeing where like those like little sparkles. Uh, Usually there's not too many of these. You get another little gem for that, and then the third gem that you can get from each level is actually this is what I found the most fun in this game. Uh, you you basically like the game will give you pictures, and you have to look at the picture and then find the items throughout the level in the picture and rearrange them to match said picture. I had the most fun with this because it required the most thought. um but also it is worth noting that the this is a game that you're not going to really need too much brain power for. Like if you're wanting just something to throw on to kind of take your mind off of something and kind of just relax and decompress, this is the game for you. I mean, it's not going to challenge you too hard. Now, I think so. There are filters. You could change the time of day and stuff like that to kind of I guess to kind of see better. And I guess that these are for people who have some kind of visual impairment. I never had to use any of these filters, but they are there. Um, yeah, and there's not a whole like. I know this is like a really short review for this game, but there's not a whole lot to dive into here. I mean, it's a great game for what it is. I don't recall off the top of my head how much money it is on Steam, but I do remember that it's very cheap. So the money that you're paying for it is you get it, you get a fair deal with this. Yeah, there's no underhanded dealing on this. Um, but yeah, hidden through my paradise, a fantastic game. Uh, just don't go in expecting too much of a challenge. The next game we have on the docket is a game called Miniatures. So again, this is a very short experience. Our friends over at Neon High provided us with the code. It is it's kind of like a point and click kind of thing. And the level I'm going to talk about, for an example, is the beach, the what is it? I guess you would call it like the beach crab level. And you basically you see this little mini uh, diorama, and you kind of have to click through to advance the story of each. And this is how all of them work. You have to click through to kind of advance the story. So, like for this one, you see a crab with like a little. He's got a little flute, and you have to progress his storyline so he can meet with other crabs to start a little crab band. And that's where this game does excel. Uh, the art style is phenomenal. The sound effects are great. The uh, like everything is very aesthetically pleasing. There again, there's not a. I mean, these are very short, so you're going to be done with this game fairly quickly. But again, the game's you I don't exactly remember because I'm driving, so I can't really recall off the top of my head. But it's not a whole lot of money to get this game on Steam. It's a great experience. Um, I will say that the one thing that I did have problems with is I play this game on Steam Deck, and again, works great. But what I did have to do is I had to tone down the stick sensitivity a little bit because a lot of the actions in these dioramas, these miniatures, so to speak, like the movement has to be very precise. So you just need to make sure that when you go into this game, keep that in mind. Kind of tone down the sticks. You're playing with the controller. If you're playing with the mouse and keyboard, you're not going to have this issue, I don't think. But yeah, miniatures, fantastic experience. I definitely wholeheartedly recommend it. Next up on the docket, we've got a game called Fruit Bus. Now, Fruit Bus is an absolute gem of a game. It so the premise is you're playing as this, you're playing as this little bear character, and your grandma basically leaves you her fruit bus. And if you're listening to this episode, and you're like, well, Doug, what's a fruit bus? It's a food truck, but it's fruit. So you're basically your goal is your grandma's having this celebration, and you're going around the island to get people to come to the celebration. And you've got like a list of people that you got to invite and all this good stuff. And the basic gameplay loop is you're driving the van, the bus around. You're collecting fruit as you go. And like you stop and you post up with other customers and you open up your window and you prepare their orders to be, you're preparing their orders to be whatever they need you. That word salad. Uh, you're preparing their order, whatever order they place. So if they want like a fruit salad, you can, a lot of times you can just, cut up any two fruits, but sometimes they'll give you two specific fruits that they want. And if you don't have the specific ingredients that they want, you can always say, hey, I can't do that. And sometimes they'll give you a different order that you can prepare. And sometimes you even add in a little something extra to whatever order they have. If it's a good addition, you'll get extra money. And sometimes you can get a lot of extra money. Um, and just this gameplay loop is so satisfying. Like, and especially guys, if you have a Steam Deck OLED, you should definitely play that game on on the Steam Deck OLED because or anything with like a really tactile feel, like if you've got like a mechanical keyboard, because like when you're like pushing the button to like chop the fruit, I mean, it just really adds like an extra degree of physicality to it, and it's just really great. Um, the issues that I had with the game were kind of fixed. So the one issue that I did have with the game starting off is I felt that the game was not very good at always telling me what I needed to do, and I kind of also had this issue where I was kind of just stuck because, oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to pause the episode for just a minute because I've got to do some bank stuff, and then we'll come back and talk about more. Alrighty, the banking is done. So now, the issue that I was talking about was I kind of got stuck in the early release build. So basically, what happened is I was playing through the game, and I realized that I was kind of low on funds because I was still trying to figure things out, and I bought the backpack, and then I was low on funds, and I just had enough money to buy the bowls. So I bought more bowls, which again, this was such an angering thing to me. Was like you're telling me that I'm just giving these people my bowls. No restaurant would ever, or food truck would ever just give away bowls. It made me mad. I got over it. It's okay. Um, so I went to buy the bowls, and it was after I bought the bowls that they informed me that I also needed to have a hammer. So that was an issue because I had no money to get the hammer and no obvious way to get money because I could not prepare food. So, like, that was just like an issue that I had. The second time that I got into the game, I had that in mind and I was able to go through and, get things that I needed to get done. Um, After I had that, through my head and, the way to play the game ingrained in myself, I had a lot more fun with it. I was going through, I was getting all the fruits, storing them in my bus and, preparing orders and stuff. And just the art of upgrading your bus, going around the island, exploring, meeting the new village, and villagers, inhabitants, one of the two. Um, it was just a really fun time. And that's why I can wholeheartedly recommend this game now. It runs great on the Steam Deck. The art style is it's very cartoony and also has like a stop motion kind of style to it, like a good flow like that. It's just a really good time. And if you have, any like if you like simulator type games, this is totally going to be up your alley. It's such a good lighthearted experience. It's really easy on the palate. You're gonna go through this and just enjoy yourself immensely. So that's three games, and I'm trying. Like you're gonna have to forgive me. I've been like a little bit scatterbrained. Um, I think that's all we have for this week. If I remember another one that we haven't done, which I'm pretty sure we've done them all, but if I remember another one, I'll make it a little addition onto this episode, and we will hit it when we come back around. Like I always say, everybody, it really is a pleasure to get to do this. Every day that I wake up and I get to play video games for I remember the Bridge Curse 2 Extrication. Like I knew I was forgetting one and it was a big one. I am so sorry to the development team. So the Bridge Curse 2 Extrication. So the Bridge Curse franchise is something that like I had never really heard of until this game. But like, I was told that it is a very good horror game and like the first one was like pretty well received. And I actually did some digging and it is actually, usually you get video games based off of movies, but this was or yeah, no, movies based off of video games, but this is actually a video game franchise based off of a 2020, I think that was the year, Taiwanese horror film, and I actually want to go back and watch this now. So basically, you play as these film students, and you're going into this university, and there's a ghost story, hanging over the university, and you're making a film to not only like document the background of said story, but you're also trying to like gain more members into your film club. Now, what I'm gonna go ahead and start off with saying is the story isn't going to be why you're here. I know that sounds kind of backwards, but honestly, I played this game. I streamed this entire game on my Discord server, and basically, what I can tell you is that this game is a very good and competent horror game. What I cannot tell you is that the story and the voice acting is good, because the story was utterly forgettable. The voice acting is just point blank bad. Like there's no redeeming qualities to the voice acting here, and I don't want to put anybody down because I know there are real voice actors that played the roles for these characters, and they probably did put in they probably did put in a lot of work to make this game come to life, but. And also, Taiwanese game, it's probably not a huge shock that the English voices are not the best. Um, that being said, even if the voice acting is stellar, there are just some really bad writing choices here. And again, this might all be purposeful. Maybe they wanted to make it like a B movie kind of thing. Um, like for example, there's a part where you're having to sneak past the security guard, and he walks by a picture of a half naked man and very loudly screamed, "Get some." And I can tell you that every time it popped off in the stream, the chat was going absolutely crazy and bonkers, laughing at it. It just doesn't fit the vibe of the game. And another aspect that was just insane. There's a character with a handlebar mustache, and at one point he gets slapped, and he gets slapped so hard that the handlebar mustache comes off. And I just wasn't expecting it, and it made me laugh. And maybe if you're going into that thinking that it's going to be a laugh, I mean, maybe that's what you're going for. But I was not wanting to laugh with this game because there are some very genuine and good scares here. So excuse me, whenever the game did make me laugh, I was like, that's not necessarily what I want here, but I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, so the voice acting is just bottom of the barrel bad, and I didn't have like a single person that watched the stream that said it was good. So you had to go in with that mentality. Like if you're looking for like a good, well told storyline with superb voice acting, this is not the game for you. That being said, the horror on display here is very good. Some of the enemies that you face off against, I cannot remember the names of them off the top of my head, but there is one. There's a ghost lady. I think her name is like One Ting. I think it's like something like that. And like she's a ghost woman, and like her head is like dangling off the back of her, like her back of her torso, and she's horrifying. And you have to like deal with her, like you have to like go around these levels trying to find ways to get around her, and it's very good. There's also like a ballerina where if you move while she's looking at you, she immediately kills you. So you like she like her section had me literally like jump off the couch screaming in triumph when I finally beat her. Like that's the kind of gameplay loop you're getting here. There's not any real combat other than you have a lantern. I think it's called like the anima lantern, where if it's charged up, you can actually swing at ghosts to like knock them off of you to like get a little extra breathing room. Um, Graphically and technically, this game is phenomenal. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. I didn't really have any performance issues to speak of here. The game looks fantastic through and through. A great package. I played this game on PS5, but it is available on Steam. It might be available on Xbox as well. But keep me honest, double check me on that. I know for sure PS5 and PC. Um, I think the only issue that I had is if you don't know me, my streaming setup is very minimum at the moment. I'm getting a hardcore beefy gaming PC soon, and so to stream this game, I didn't have a capture card either, so I had to basically I had to use Chiaki to stream it to my RG Ally which would in turn also stream to my channel. And what I did not like is that I could not. There was no option to remap buttons. So I kind of had to raw dog the game and, never use my map. So that's both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in that you now know that you do not need the map. You might just be wandering around a little bit more than usual. Um, this game is fairly short. I would say about 3 to 5 hours. Anywhere in that time frame is how long you guys plan to beat this game. But all in all, this is a great horror game. I can't recommend it enough. If you want something to play, definitely go check this out. I definitely plan on going back to play the first game on Steam. Um, but yeah, so this time, this is the real end of the episode, guys. I definitely got through everything this time. Thank you for listening. If you want to share this podcast with your friends, it's on all podcast platforms. We are on WordPress. The Night Ride Home. Um, Also, twitch.tv/Night Ride Home. We're trying to start streaming a little bit more lately. And I think that about covers it. I'll see you guys in the next episode.